broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Ooh.
Classic.
Yes.
Hey, sister.
Hello, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the after show for the Real Housewives of Orange County. We're here doing episode number 13, Sex, Lies, and Leeches. Disgusting. We pick up where we left off with a very dramatic scene, and we're going to get into all of the drama that came with the sex party in a moment. Let's introduce ourselves. My name is Grant Rudder. I'm the host, and with me, co-host today.
Woo! Not Lady Marmalade, but we are jamming nonetheless. Hey, everybody. That's right. That's right. We are Pink and Brittany and Christina and Maya, if I do say so myself.
Which one am I?
Yeah, right?
I want to know who Grant is.
We're going to let you all decide that on the chat roll, but my real name is Christy Olsen. Yes.
Oh, I like that. Well done, Marissa.
Okay.
You guys can all hit me up at Christy Reports.
I'm Allison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Allison Dean.
And I am Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
All right.
That does it.
Well, let's get it started.
Right. So let's go to the mansion where life-altering rumors are being spread.
Nice quote.
Heather's house is still celebrating this luncheon, and it looks like Vicky is picking right up where she left off. She's really flying off the handle, and now Lizzie's kind of her little lapdog going to her defense. Lizzie's been still annoying me this season. I don't know why she's there, but at least she's getting airtime.
It's so funny how thoroughly you're always. It's like, oh, Lizzie, and you want her off the screen. It's so funny. Whereas me, I'm just like, are you wearing white again? Oh,
you do love to keep track.
I do.
Yeah.
I know. I've got the eye out for the
It's
white
a running
outfits
theme now. I was like, oh, Vicky stole your thunder tonight.
Right.
Her closet must just look like heaven. Just pure white.
Angelic.
Very angelic.
Vicky is continuing to say that Megan is not coming from a good place. She's got it out for this girl. No matter what Megan says, it's coming from a lousy, rot gut, no good, jealous place. And it's like, really, okay, I don't know, maybe Vicky's got a pair of glasses on that are, like, mean. I don't get it. But she's just, like, not seeing clearly. And I want to know, what do you think? Has Vicky completely overreacted to the situation? Or is Megan just, is she understood? Or is Megan really being really aggressive?
Yes, well, I mean, Vicky is not one to shy away from an argument. We've all seen her.
Nor is Megan.
As she's thoroughly proving this season. Yeah, Vicky's there to mix it up. She's, certainly not going to back down from anything. And she's certainly overreacted to many things in the past as well. I do think she is being a touch sensitive to the whole thing. Tamra even mentioned that this episode. She said, I love Vicky to death, but she is reacting completely over the top. And I think even Heather mentioned it too, that she's really flying off the handle and just really just coming unhinged over this whole thing.
Yeah, it's almost like Vicky wants to fight. Mm-hmm. And really, the point that she's at in her life and everything she's dealing with and everything she's probably feeling inside, that's not really that shocking.
I agree with you on that. I definitely agree with that. Mm-hmm. However, it still is a little... it's just they're arguing about something that it needs no argument, I think, at this point.
Yeah, right. Because again, Megan never said outrightly that Brooks doesn't have cancer, right? Do we kind of keep coming back to that?
Yeah.
Completely.
Right, yeah.
Yes, and that's the most frustrating thing about this whole argument that has taken place, now 2 episodes worth, but through this whole one tonight. But yeah, it's like we can't get the facts straight. It's like you've got Team Vicky and Shannon over here saying, like, Megan, you're spreading all these rumors, you're doing all this. Well, no, she's not. She's just saying what the psychic said. And then you've got that side over here where it's like it was stemming from the psychic. So how much truth are you really going to put onto it anyways?
And actually, I really think that Megan wasn't even trying to harp so much on that, but just more on the fact that she wanted to know that Brooks was seeking out as much care as he could just because she was affected. Now, I do think she should have let it lie. I think after a certain point of someone saying, I don't want to hear it anymore, you have to respect that, right?
I agree.
So in that sense, she went a little, it's like, if someone doesn't care what you're saying, then back off.
Yeah,
you know
can't
what I mean?
make someone care.
No, right. And so it seemed like wasted calories of energy right there. Just like you keep on going, and this is not, the train is not leaving the station. This is not,
And we'll get to it, but she's saying like, oh, you know how I feel about justice. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, now what?
Yes,
what are we talking about now? Right.
Exactly. And I thought that was a really interesting point too, because I felt like during the episode, she really was coming at it from a place of like love, right? Like, oh, well, I'm concerned because I'm dealing with this in my own life, and I have my own person close to me, and blah blah blah. I feel you, sort of thing. Then at the tail end of it all, we saw her in the car with Jim driving home, and she said something very interesting to me. She did say, sort of under her breath, but we could see her lips, and they did the the captioning underneath. Jim said, why do you care so much? What's going on here? Why are you bringing this up so much? And she goes, because she's a con artist. Now, whether or not it was like a heated moment, maybe she just said that because she was just frustrated from that night. That could very well be the case. But if not, it's almost like maybe she did have some sort of ulterior motive of trying to like out Vicky for this lie, potentially.
You know what? Because I didn't even read it that way, and you're so right. And I was just thinking like, oh, she's trying to say that Vicky is turning her into something and is trying to make a big deal out of nothing, like that Vicky's just being her OC Vicky again. But that may have been what she was actually implying. Ooh.
Could be.
Thank you, Blakely.
Detective work. I like it.
Detective Blakely.
That's right. Don't try to put anything past me, okay?
That's right. We got the caption on.
That's right. I'll
when
get
we're
that
watching.
found out real quick.
I really think that Vicky flew off the handle. I mean, you could hear her screaming in that huge house. You could hear all this echoing of her carrying on and carrying on. Of course, she's going through things that are very personal and affecting her and her relationship. I totally get it, but I mean, to have a reaction like that with a table full of other women that aren't even necessarily in your inner circle.
In on it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But we kind of can't go a season without some kind of a thing from Vicky like that, right?
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need one like of her like yelling at the top of her, bellowing out towards someone or at something.
that's what I watch for.
Yeah, right.
Right.
When's the Vicky moment going to happen?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because when she first left the lunch, she was by all means fairly composed. She was just speaking in a normal voice. She was saying things,
And
but
then it was like-
and then all of a sudden they go back to the table where it was just Megan and Lizzie, very sadly, and then we hear that she's actually screaming and causing a fuss. So I think again that was her like escalating. Like she wasn't even that upset with Megan and the conversation because she walked away from the conversation and was speaking in a normal tone, and then starts talking about it and thinking about it all, and then gets herself wound up.
Completely. And that's so funny you bring that up too, because that's exactly what she did at Brooke's birthday dinner.
Yes.
With Shannon in the bathroom.
Totally.
It was a very calm thing. She said, no, I don't want to speak of it. And then just proceeded to go out to the table and lose her mind.
She didn't even sit down yet.
Yeah. After she just said she wasn't going to talk about it, she took it upon herself to get crazy on things.
Yeah.
So she has that about her. It's like she'll have a moment of clarity where we'll all say, oh, Vicky, that's so mature and the high road, and this is wonderful. But no. Very quickly, it's like she works herself up about the whole thing. She has time to think about it, and she's like, wait a minute, I'm way more mad at this.
Well, as my grandmother says, these women are being paid to be bitches. So they are
Gotta love your
earning
grandma.
their money.
What a job to have.
She knows what's up.
Paid to be bitches. Love it. Oh, man. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps up that luncheon from hell. And we can move on now to our cheers and jeers section, the highs and lows, little things that have kind of caught our attention or pissed us off while watching this show. There's been a lot thrown at us, so let's get into it. I'll give mine first.
All right.
My cheers go to the other women at the luncheon. Heather's friends seem to be a little basic, and none of them decided to get involved. And I want to know where they all disappeared to when it came down to the two at the table, Lizzie and Megan, because they like me like ghosts. Like where'd all these women go? So I'm curious, and they seem to be kind of the stuffy crowd, not people I would want to have a luncheon with. So they're getting my jeers. Oh, cheers! No, they're getting cheers. Although they're probably worth more than I'll ever see. So in a way, good for you.
Cheers. It was like a tiny cheers in there.
Cheers for marrying rich, ladies.
And why the hell not? Cheers goes to Vicky's concern for the sushi girl.
That was funny.
You're such a pretty girl. You should be in school. I'm going to give you an internship. And that girl didn't know what to say, because I don't think they're supposed to talk. You know? Talk about being put on the spot.
And talk about being put on the spot. You can't even get up and walk away. You got the sushi all on you.
You are stuck.
You are put.
You are there.
That has to
you're
be
there.
one of the worst. Raw fish all over you like that. You can't let it have an itch like that. It's just no. Maybe she would do better with an unpaid internship at Kodo.
Right?
Oh man, that is my cheers.
All right.
Yes. Update: you will not be seeing Grant take part in any sort of raw sushi display.
Well, I'm never gonna eat. I'm gonna have
If you
sushi.
dreamed of eating sushi off of this body, keep dreaming.
Ain't gonna happen.
I've never even had sushi.
You've never had sushi.
No, it's like I'm
It
such
disturbs you.
You don't
I'm
do
such an
seafood?
I'm such an East Coaster, I guess.
Yes.
And I got burned once on fish at Cello's on the water.
Uh-oh.
No good. So I'm putting that out there right now.
Oh.
And that's in Rhode Island, but so no local businesses will be affected by this. But once you were burned once, why do you go back again? And that was with baked fish. So forget the raw.
Done.
I mean, you
Well,
can count me
okay.
right out.
All right.
Not even from Cello's, from just the whole all of fish.
Well, no, I'll have baked fish. I have it quite often, but I
okay.
will not. I won't engage or entertain raw fish.
Okay, all right.
Something that we should know about you.
Cheers to Cello's on the water for ruining my Friday night all those years ago.
Dang.
Finally get my revenge.
I love it. I don't eat sushi either, people. Which actually segues into my jeers. I'm actually vegan and I'm trying to go non-cruelty, like cruelty-free with my makeup and beauty products as well. So my jeers goes to Heather's leech-sucking beauty regimen for being very non-cruelty-free, and I'm, highly concerned about the leeches, so.
Christy, I like that.
I'm saying, I love you, Heather, but that one not so much. And my cheers are gonna also go to Vicky giving a lecture to this poor sushi girl. You know what? She took the words right out of my mouth. Whenever I see go-go dancers, I mean, we live in Hollywood and there's a lot of creative people who are doing their thing. But there are also a lot of people who are trying to do their thing and take side jobs just to get money while they do their thing.
Completely.
This poor girl is probably in that case. I mean, I can't think that she grew up thinking, oh my God, when I grow up, I'm going to head out west, let the
Be the
celebrities
best
eat the
sushi model.
sushi off me. Yes.
That Orange County's ever seen.
Yes. So yeah, my cheers are to Vicky for telling this girl, go get an education, honey.
I like it.
There we have it.
Amen.
There we have
Are
it.
we starting with jeers first, or are we doing cheers? I feel like everyone did a jeers before the
think we should
cheers.
be flexible.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
cheers first. So I'm gonna cheers
positive.
to Michael, Vicky's son, for being such a beacon of wisdom in their dinner together. I thought he was really being sensible in all of his chats.
You really connected with
I did.
her.
was
I
being
also,
sensible.
though, will say that my jeers also goes to Michael because he also looked thoroughly uninterested the entire time he was having the conversation. So a bit of a conundrum I'm in with him.
Yeah, his delivery was interessante.
Dry. It was dry.
Very dry.
It was poignant, but dry. Yes.
Well, we haven't seen him in a while, and he seemed to have had a love-hate relationship with the cameras from the start.
Yeah.
So we all remember when she
And with
showed up
his
at his
mom.
frat party.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see like where they're at and where he's at and where his attitude is.
Cheers and cheers. Yes.
I like a combo. I
Same
approve.
scenario.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so my cheers tonight goes to Heather. I really enjoyed her words of wisdom at her luncheon because she was the only person who said it straight to Megan. Vicky was over on the side getting upset, and Heather stayed back and said, look, Megan, maybe it's time we don't talk about this anymore, which is what we had just said. At some point, when somebody doesn't want to hear you anymore, you can't keep shoving it down their throat.
Yeah.
So she kind of said, hey, it's lovely you're coming from a nice place, but
Drop
let's-
it.
Yeah, let's drop it now. Oh, that was good.
Oh, that was
Yay, Heather. Yay, that was good. I like that.
cheers.
That's right. Now my jeers.
Cheers.
Boo.
Boo.
No good.
was Megan bringing Jim into the whole argument with Vicky. Yeah, I didn't care for that so much, precisely because Of course he doesn't care. Of course he doesn't want to get involved in that. He's like, whatever you guys are talking about, that's you. And I gotta kind of agree with that. You're having this issue amongst yourself with the ladies, whatever. Handle it amongst yourself with the ladies. That's where I'm coming from. So, cheers on that.
Well, we want to know your cheers and jeers, and there's certainly enough comment space below to let us know what you think. So
Certainly is.
Yes. So let us know your cheers and jeers, and if it strikes a chord with us, we'll bring it up. Why the hell not?
That's right.
So,
We will.
Yes. So let's transition to this sex tape that was revealed. What did you think of the video? Before we get into the party, which is I have my own rant about, let's talk about the tape.
This was some mildly clever marketing, right? I mean, I feel like it's been done, and we saw it months ago when they actually did start the YouTube channel and put it out. They tried to keep it a little bit quiet, but we saw it, and we sort of knew what they were talking about when she mentioned the sex tape. But it was well done. It kind of had you going, whoa, wait a minute, even though you knew what was coming.
I have a question. So when you saw it the first time, was it longer than that, or was that it?
I think it may have been longer, yeah.
Because there was no working out. There was only stretching. So that's why I was like...
Yeah.
Well, it was a promo
Touche,
video
Allison.
to kick off the YouTube channel.
that's
So I
what
think
I
she was
thought.
cheekily calling it a workout video because that was the premise of the
That one was
of
a
the skit.
post-workout video.
Or a pre.
Or
You could stretch
pre.
before.
Although I'm saying you might not want to go that deep, right? If
Right off the bat.
if your body isn't warm yet.
Gotcha.
I don't
Warm
know.
some things out.
Yeah. Then
Yeah,
again,
I gotta admit that when we were all watching it together, I was doing a little bit of this for a moment.
Like Heather.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
whoa.
But overall, lasting thoughts, it was completely clever. Super clever at the end. And when we saw everything coming together,
What'd you think they were doing?
right?
I honestly was surprised.
Get your mind out of there.
I honestly was a little surprised with it because I know that it was to be serious, but she just came off of that whole custody battle. I'm just like, that might not be like the best thing to put on the web, but I mean, I get it. Like, it's a joke. Like, we can all laugh at it. Everything has been taken care of. But I don't know. I was surprised with her.
That's actually a good point because we'll get to it in our news and gossip. But her daughter Sydney still wants nothing to do with her and cites embarrassment and her mother's behavior as a big part in that. So you're right with the sex tape thing.
It is hard. I imagine it would be hard to have,
Right.
kind of have a mom that is fun and relevant on one side, but then on the other side, a mother. And when you're the child of that, I imagine that's tricky to kind of navigate, like, oh, this is my mom and this is what she's doing. We just think back to how we all felt with our mothers at one time or another. And when they're putting out sex tapes for their sex tapes, I can just imagine.
I think for the most part, these housewives would embarrass their kids in general. They're on a national TV show. They're all drunk half the time or doing something they shouldn't be doing. So it's like, I feel like that it's just in general is not the best thing for the kids.
Yeah.
Well, and the kids are going to school with other wealthy kids whose parents
yeah.
are maybe the other parents consider more legitimate celebrities. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'm just
Completely.
saying.
Yeah.
Oh, there's like so much going on for the kids involved.
these children, yeah.
It really is multi-layered. And it's interesting though because I love Tamara. We all love her.
I love Tamara,
Right?
yeah.
She's got her ways, her spunk that we completely appreciate.
She has the spunk.
Yeah, she's clever, she's spunky. I totally appreciate her. But what I was most surprised about was the whole religious revelation and the whole idea of the baptism and that she was gonna get that going.
By the pasture.
Announcing it at the sex party.
Yes. Oh yeah, the announcement was made at the
To
sex
be
party.
fair, Jesus was born in a barn, which is another word for pasture, right? No, the pasture is part of the barn.
I just like when Vicky
No, you know what?
corrected
I
her.
tried, Tamara,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
can't help
Christy
you
just
out.
brought it full circle.
I tried.
No, Vicky was right in that case. Pastor.
Pastor.
True.
Yes.
Yes, very true.
This sex party had, large dildos on display, a
Anal
sex
beads.
swing. There was a torture chamber. I think it was just such nonsense. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to a party like that. I think that's just, I mean, I want to see these, like, I don't know, I enjoy Beverly Hills Housewives. Of course, they have a mix of stuff, but I want to see, like, chandeliers and champs and caviar. I don't want to see, a bunch of sex things all around. I
They
don't
could
know.
have done the champs and the caviar with a sexy theme that didn't go so far as with the dildos and the cheesy stuff. And
Yeah.
you could do a whole 50 Shades of Grey, like sexy implied,
Classy-ish.
dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of a trend right now. But she
Yeah.
sort of chose to take it one step further, and it went cheese ball.
They should have done just a straight up, like, 50 Shades of Grey knockoff party.
Yeah, why not? It was hot back then, like 6
Everyone
months
could
ago.
have been Christian Grey.
50 Shades of Grey was
Yeah.
a book and a movie. You guys probably don't remember anymore. But it was like kind of a big deal for a while.
I still remember it.
What did you think of
Are you still reading it?
No, but I remember it.
She was a convert when it all happened.
I was. Yeah, I was a late bloomer.
She knows all about it.
I do.
What did you think of the light up dildo down what's his face's pants?
Was it a light up dildo?
Well, I don't know if it was
Regardless.
clear, so light could illuminate through the shaft.
Pretty sure that's the
we
first time
give
I've ever
a-
heard Grant say the word shaft.
I know.
We give a real, true breakdown here at
Yes.
AfterBuzz TV. I am giving it to you straight. We're getting into the party decor, and this is what it is.
I just appreciated that it was bright pink.
Right?
That's what I appreciated.
And Eddie can never do anything trashier than licking a stripper's nipple at his bachelor party in front of the
love
cameras.
to bring that up. You
I love to bring that because I will never forget it. It's the
Yeah,
first thing that
it's
like
imprinted
flashes into
into
my
your
head
brain.
every time his face pops up on the screen. So he's met his threshold. Throw the dildo down your pants. What the hell?
He's not even wearing underwear. We learned.
Yeah, and bottom line, he's married to Tamra. So,
Another good point.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the man is fine with getting crazy and doing things like that.
right? Absolutely. You have to be, right?
Ain't
You have
it?
to be.
And then we wonder why the girl's daughter is in Paris.
Aww.
Oh,
Oh, Tamra.
feel bad.
How old is her
kind of.
daughter right now?
Just saying. She's, I believe, 17.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Wait, that sounds like too old.
No, I
All the
think
stuff
you're right.
today. No,
Actually,
she is. Yeah, I think
that's-
she is. She's 17.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember thinking it
flies.
won't be too much longer that she'll even have to deal with this custody stuff.
So, Christy, you touched upon it. You were worried about the safety of animals. The leech therapy. I don't know where you stand on that, but let's discuss it. These two would probably be the last people I would think that would engage in such a thing. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised they walked around with duct tape.
But wait,
around
they
their-
did it already. Didn't they do it in a previous episode? I thought they did it
The
last
leeches?
season. Yes.
This has been
so.
discussed on Housewives before. It was kind of a trendy thing like a year or so ago.
No,
it
I
may
really
have been
feel
on a
like they did
different
it.
franchise. You
Did
think
they
so?
do it on his show Botched? Is that what they did it
Maybe
for?
that's what it was.
Because I don't recall
I
it
don't
being.
recall it either.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm with you on.
Housewives.
We've definitely heard of this somewhere in this realm before.
I think
I'm
it was
with you
for
on
Botched
this.
then because
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
But the thing is maybe when they were showing it, it was in reference to what they knew was going to be this episode with leeches. But the perception I got from watching the Botched episode was that they were going to show a different aspect of, like, not
Of
what they
leech
showed
therapy?
us. Yeah, when they did it on Botched, it was actually kind of weird and interesting. But
There wasn't like gaping holes of blood.
Like puncture wounds with oozing
like
blood.
oozing, yeah, there was none of that. No,
Yeah, this was intense. And I'm sort of with you, Grant. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like Heather is so fancy. I mean, that's the identity she's been given through her whole existence on this series. And she's fancy. She's, everything has to be like perfect and just right. And the fact that she's walking through this sex party with maxi pads duct taped to her unders to catch the dripping blood was like, what? Heather?
and it didn't even work.
No.
What is the point? Is it?
I want to know what
lose
maxi
weight?
pad she was using because it doesn't work.
This was not a commercial for it. That's for sure.
No.
What is the purpose to lose weight?
No. So the way she explained it was that
Yeah, I
the
don't know.
leeches get attached onto your abdominal area, maybe because of like the fat content or something like
Probably.
that. Restorative or, something like that. The leeches get full of your own blood. The leeches then are squeezed, releasing the blood that's just been contracted from your body and gets placed all over your face to make your skin beautiful and lovely like Demi Moore's, I think was the example.
And is somehow different than just having your own blood pumped and thrown on your face.
Apparently.
Well,
apparently.
because there's some process with the
Oh
leech.
my God,
No, there's some enzymes.
I'm glad
or
you
something.
guys know about this.
That
Well, no, I
went
only
over
know
my
about this
head,
because of
I think
Botch.
because I don't want to know.
Okay.
I feel like they explained some of this in the episode of Botch that I
do tell.
watched.
Do tell.
Yes.
Allison.
I don't know if I remember a lot of it, but I feel like there's some kind of enzymatic process or something that happens when the leech is taking the blood and the processing of the blood so that it's not just like I'm taking blood out of my body and pouring it on my face.
Yeah,
There's
there
something.
must be some-
It's almost like I'm going to compare it to like civet cats and
Oh,
why
yes.
we're like having that coffee as opposed to ingesting the poopy coffee. Whatever. Anyway, there's just certain things that
You lost me, ladies.
I know. I think
What?
people need the backstory.
Like,
on
I
this.
think you need to translate because I'm not making sense.
Yeah, quick backstory. Allison and I sampled this delicious beer recently that was made from civet cat droppings, which is similar to coffee that they also make. The civet cat coffee
Ingests?
beans. They ingest the beans of the coffee. It
Expels-
comes out,
expels the coffee.
and then they harvest that and turn it into coffee that you drink
Or
and,
beer.
or beer.
How was it?
Because it's like,
Delicious.
it does something. Like they process it better, or it's just
Yeah.
anyway. So I feel like I'm equating this to the leeches now, and there's
Yes.
some good thing that happens when the leech is sucking the blood from you. I don't know.
Ramayu. Yes, and
Ramayu.
Heather did mention, though, I don't know if this had anything to do with the process, but she said that something, the way their enzymes are within the leeches makes it so that they unleash like an anticoagulant into your blood. So that's why her blood it wasn't clotting, it wasn't scabbing over. She said for about 24 hours afterwards, it's just like oozing blood because it was an anticoagulant that then gets transferred onto the wound from the leech. So that's why she was just oozing uncontrollably.
and there's your weight loss.
Just bleed to death, everyone.
Yeah, and isn't she drinking on top of it to really thin out the blood?
Yeah,
Oh,
thin
yes.
out that blood, just bleeding all night long.
I'm doing research right now.
I'm like repulsed. I mean, I'm really like,
It's quite a procedure.
I think the other reason why
paid
it would
for that?
surprise us that Terry and Heather would do this and pay for it is because it seems like a hokey thing. It seems like something that Dr.
fad.
Moon would suggest. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And Terry is a real doctor, and apparently this must be a real thing.
It must work.
smart. Yeah, good point.
What do you find,
they
Allison?
do release an enzyme when they're biting down on your skin or whatever.
Oh, my goodness
And it gets
gracious.
released into your blood. And I guess it like optimizes health and you feel detoxified or whatever. Anyway, it's some enzymatic
Okay.
thing. It is
I
in
can't
fact
be bothered.
enzymes on some level.
Well, they used to do this in medieval times, didn't they?
I don't know.
Bloodletting
Oh, yeah.
with the leeches.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some
Some
historical
thing.
truth to it.
Oh my god, I have a hard time getting my eyebrows waxed. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Could
Let's
you-
pop a little leech on that eyebrow.
Yeah.
Suck that hair right off.
and then how do you get the leech out of? How do you get them off?
You have to like pull them off. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Oh hell no! You can keep those
like,
leeches
"No,
far away
no,
from
don't
me.
squeeze me.
Makes me weak just to
I'm
imagine
not-
them
Right.
on me.
I'm not signing up for it. That's
Yeah, no
for sure.
thanks.
I'm not like, ooh, I gotta go do that.
We've seen Heather do it.
There's got to be some
Done
vitamins
on
I can
that.
put on my face instead or something.
There's got to be a better way.
Well, I need to put that to rest. I can't think of those leeches anymore.
dear.
Vicky's kind of leeched on to Megan, and
It's true.
She right away she's like, "You're not a nice person. You're an evil person. You're awful." And like, what's her face? Megan's standing there in some weirdo bra, and just like looking at her, and she's saying,
Heather's bra.
And I love that. Oh yeah, I love that Megan was like, "Look, I'm not apologizing for any of this." And I like that because Megan.
Well, Vicky just started with, I'm just going to accept your apology.
Oh yeah. Where did this come
She's not
from?
apologizing, Vicky.
If I were Megan, I just would have been like, cool. Because I didn't apologize, so let's have you think that.
Vicky's like, conversation's over, and then Megan says, "Oh, it's just begun."
I know,
Neck
like,
roll.
yeah. Wow.
It's like, "Oh no, we're just getting started, bitch."
Yeah,
I did love
truly.
that.
It was
Cheers to that.
Very threatening.
Yes. So then she calls over Jim, the rolling of the finger, and gets him directly involved. What did you think? Good idea, bad idea, in between?
Bad. I think bad idea. I think it was reminiscent to like tattletaling. It was like, oh, I'm gonna tell my mom and bring my mom over here because you hurt me, or I don't know what. I just don't think it was a place for Jim. The issue that she's having with Vicky and their sort of argument just really has nothing to do with Jim. And I think Megan described it as she wanted Jim to come defend her with Vicky being so aggressive towards her, which, like, you know, you could understand wanting some sort of defense in that, but the fact is that Megan has brought this whole thing on herself. She's the one who's been saying, hey, I care so much. I'm going to keep talking about it and keep bringing it up with you, even when you tell me no. So why then would she need defense? If she's okay with bringing this all on, she should be fine with it, right?
I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, I will say this. On the one hand, I was impressed of, you know, sort of the battle that Jim took on. But yeah, no, I agree in the sense of it's not something a husband needs to walk into. You know, it's like you are sort of battling your own thing, and that's your battle. Not
I was actually very surprised by Jim's composure during the whole thing. I, for some reason, thought that Jim would be rattled a lot easier, and I thought that he would sort of get, I don't know, a little agitated or a little vocal or something a little more emotional during this, and he was cool as a cucumber.
Well, because we know he doesn't want any part of this drama. And that's why it was sort of a bad move for Megan to bring her over. She knew, even as doing that, and she kind of admitted herself, that she knew he wouldn't want to be involved in all of it. And the thing is, too, is like, why did she feel like she needed backup? You know what I mean? She was stating her case. She is a very eloquent person and has been just fine standing up for herself. She didn't need to pull him over. That almost sort of made her look a little weak. But I know Shannon was sort of standing right there next to Vicky, chirping too. Shannon should have walked away. Jim should have not been called over. And Vicky and Megan could have just had it out and been done with it.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if they could have been done with it. But
well, someone would have walked away screaming again.
Yeah, exactly.
Shannon, I don't know why Shannon needs to be involved in that. What she said her piece at that luncheon. Like, what do you need? She's literally like on top of Vicky, like speaking over her. It was really unnecessary. Go away.
And it was so obvious that,
completely agree.
Obvious that she just wanted in at Megan. It was silly.
Yeah. So let's talk about how Jim kind of boiled everything down, and he was like, basically what I perceived was, he's like, look, if someone mentioned this about my ex-wife, I'd go and get the files and I'd say, look, here they are. She's proven to have cancer. So he kind of said, like, look, if I was in your shoes, I would prove it. Of course,
because they asked him.
Vicky's like, I'm not doing anything like that. We're not going to go there. I'm not going to. Like, but I mean, like, that would be one way to shut things down.
Yeah, and they asked his opinion, and he was just honestly saying, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Right.
She could kill everyone's argument with, like, if she shows it. Now, does she have to? No, she shouldn't have to in general, but, I mean, she has the power if she proves it.
Right.
And again, let's remember that this wasn't about, is Megan questioning whether Brooks really has cancer? This was about the chemo and the treatments and all that kind of business. And Jim just tried to reiterate to Vicky once again, Megan is not saying that Brooks doesn't have cancer. She is now. She wasn't then.
A little bit. Exactly. Up until that point, she truly had not. She was simply restating what the psychic had said. Completely. So, and
Jim can't get through to Vicky either.
No, truly. And that was just so funny to me, is just seeing Jim sort of further explain
Let
Megan's
me break
side.
It down for you. Yeah.
And Vicky's just like, not hearing him, keep yelling, keep going on. And then at one point, Jim walked away, and then Vicky said her comment to Jim, the divorce comment at the end.
She said, this is not a lifetime marriage.
Yeah.
Talk to me
in 5 years. Yeah, when you're divorced. I mean, and she really didn't need to go there.
No.
I mean, that was really uncalled for. I mean, Jim had done nothing to her at that point. He had walked away already, and she's yelling it to him across the bar. Uncalled for.
Right, and this trying to get him like, I feel bad for you, Jim. I feel bad for you that you have to be with her. And
She's
like
evil.
that was just a weird sort of turn to take with him when he was trying to have a reasonable conversation with her.
Yeah.
She didn't need to go there. However, I was surprised that she gave him 5 years. I mean, she was being like so mean and inappropriate anyway. I was kind of surprised that she wasn't like, talk to me in 6 months.
Right.
You know?
Well, speaking of months, apparently Jim told what's his face, Brooks, at a hockey game that they've been married for 4 months and they've had trouble for 2 of them. There was a little bit of a delay. Chris, you picked up on that. What do you think? Do you think this is an accurate statement?
The way that Vicky said it, it took her a long time to say the word challenging. So it sounded like she was either summing things up in her head or trying to think of a word or think of a different word. it made me think that that's definitely not exactly what Jim said. Jim did not say to Brooks, 2 of these months have been challenging. There were other words used than what Vicky said, for sure.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Jim probably said to Brooks, it's like a game of telephone here. I imagine Jim said to Brooks, we're newlyweds and we have a really terrible schedule. I'm in St. Louis all the time. She's in Orange County all the time. We rarely see each other. It's very tough. Brooks probably went to Vicky and said, oh, he said it's real tough. They're having a tough time in their relationship because they don't see each other very much. And then in Vicky's mind, that then came around to a circle.
Right.
Oh, it's challenging. Oh, they are going to get a divorce. He doesn't love her anymore. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's not at all what was said.
Yeah, maybe Jim said, I don't see her half the time. We're not together half the time. And Vicky went, oh, wait, they've been married 4 months. So that means 2 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Completely.
She's very good with numbers.
She's very good with numbers, and Vicky math equals 2 months of challenging, even though no one said that. Vicky math says
I think
so.
you're right on the money. I think that was a very good breakdown of how that could have all been
Detective
perceived.
Blakeney.
On the case again.
Yes,
That's
I
right.
like it.
Forget Harriet the Spy, y'all.
So let's talk about this limo scene. Now, the Housewives always have good scenes in limos, don't they?
Thank God for GoPros.
Yes. So we saw another real-life husband and wife moment with these two in the back of the car, and they're talking about she regrets pulling him into it, and he's still checked out. A few things were mentioned. What do you want to say about that? What did you think of that moment?
Of their conversation in the car. I just thought it was interesting that he kind of had to silence her the way that he did for her to stop and listen. I thought it was interesting. He was trying to deliver a compliment, although it was
Sort of backhanded.
Yeah.
it was just the delivery was a little askew. Yeah,
A little gruff. He kind of has a gruff delivery when he speaks to her.
And I think she was in a position where she was already feeling quite vulnerable and
also probably agitated and sensitive because it was a whole bunch of stuff had gone down.
Yeah.
you know?
And she wanted more of consoling and feeling support, and she wasn't getting that from him.
Yeah, completely.
It kind of occurred to me during this conversation between the two of them, I thought everyone's been talking to Megan like she's a child. All the ladies at the party just did, at the luncheon they just did, and now Jim is even sort of speaking to her as if she's 12 and not 30. And it's just kind of interesting to me how that seems. I mean, Megan is an adult. She's 30 years old. She's not 21.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's stop treating her like a child. She certainly doesn't act like a child. She can stand up for herself like an adult.
Completely. I mean, I would be infuriated personally to be spoken to that way on all fronts. I mean, even just in this show, watching everybody refer to her as the 30-year-old is okay, come on, let's get a new name. Let's move on from the age thing. But you're completely right. She's dressed like this all the time, and personally,
frustrating.
I would be completely frustrated.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's going to have an opportunity to really give it to them at the reunion.
Oh!
Well, wait a second, guys. Let's not pass over how Jim said when she was like, we have to be together. You want to deal with this for the rest of your life? And he said, hopefully, as in hopefully we'll be together for the rest of our lives. I mean, that was kind of a major telltale bombshell, right?
Well,
and something we'll see several times played back in future seasons if they do separate.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is I feel like he had a couple really good zingers throughout this whole process. I mean, he was so calm and composed when he was having it out with Vicky, but then to Megan, he was a little rough. First in the bar, telling her to zip it.
Yeah,
obviously him being frustrated, not wanting to be in that scenario, but still using that sort of language and telling her to zip it was sort of unfortunate. And then in the car with everything that you just said, so he kind of had these moments where it was not so nice. Yeah. Not so nice. But yes, we have some information on this topic with a little news and gossip whenever we're ready.
Yeah, we're good. Christy reports.
Do it. Let's do it. Who should we start with here? There's so many good things and such that we've actually kind of touched on a little bit tonight. Well, Lizzie Rovsek trying to make herself relevant in all this, maybe to catch Grant Rutter's attention. She gave some interviews this week, and she flat out said that she thinks that Megan premeditated that whole conversation, that she came to the luncheon looking for a fight. She used the fact that Megan had done some research, and she was like, okay, Megan came locked and loaded with her research ammo, and Lizzie was very adamant that Megan wanted that whole fight to go down. So that's some interesting comments from
Interesting
Lizzie.
perspective. Ooh,
And
definitely.
Yeah. Wow.
we had a lot of talk last week about Heather and her home.
Oh, yes.
And I thought that this was so interesting and juicy and was kind of on a no-name site, so you guys may not have come along. This news that Heather's net worth is at $30 million.
Hers or
Now,
her
keep
and
in mind,
Terry's?
just hers. That's not
Wow.
Terry's. It's not a combined, but her net worth is $30 million. And if you all remember that little humble abode that they sold in 2012, they sold it for a little over $16 million. It is now back on the market, and you can scoop it up if you've got 26 mil laying around. Yeah, so they definitely
that's a
took a
jump.
hit on that one. Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Or the market just.
Probably
They did
the market.
sell at the very
yeah.
bottom of the market. Yeah, but I think it kind of goes to show that like they just didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've got it. She's got that 30 mil.
Nice. Nice.
We've talked a lot about Shannon and her relationship with the ladies, what it is now. When Megan was here, she said, you know, Shannon and I don't speak now. And Shannon said some things last week that imply that her and Vicky are no longer cool.
Oh.
Shannon outrightly said this week about Vicky. She said, we've spoken, but we're not very close. I don't talk to her often.
Huh.
So that friendship is, by all rights and purposes, OVER, and I guess it still goes to show if they will get back together after what happened at Brooke's birthday last week, or if that's just the end of it. She is, and as far as Megan goes, Shannon is upset about the comments that Megan has made in her interviews, which is what Megan told us when she was here. So Megan, you're right. Shannon's all kinds of upset with you about what you've been saying in those intervieos. And now that's right. And now we get to Tamra and her custody battle. This week, last week, a whole mess of details came out in this custody. These are sealed court documents that Tamra has alleged that Simon is releasing to the media. We now know in those documents, a judge ruled that their 17-year-old daughter, Sydney, Simon and Tamra's daughter, she had been told by a judge and ordered to go to therapy with Tamra. So Sydney and Tamra were going to attend court-ordered therapy. Sydney and Simon actually went back to the courts. Apparently, this is what Sydney wanted to do and told the court, I do not want to be forced into this therapy with my mother.
Oh.
And Tamra alleges that Simon is alienating her. She alleges parental alienation. And a judge ruled on all of that and said, you know what, Sydney, you don't have to go to this therapy with your mother. And no, Simon is not alienating Sydney.
Interesting.
So that is what was ruled last week. Tamra is not happy about it. Again, she just insists that Simon is brainwashing Sydney, and it seems very touch and go. It's something that's going to continue to change, and it is not a good situation.
That's tricky.
I wonder if that's why she's doing so much to help her son to like compensate for some of the stuff that's going on with Sydney, maybe?
That could be. If she feels like she's lost one child and she definitely doesn't want to lose Ryan. Now bringing him back to Orange County.
Yeah. Very well could be.
So it's a messy situation, and apparently we will continue to read about it.
Yeah. And then
Somebody be leaking those docs.
I know. That's some very juicy scoop.
ooh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
It is.
And just very quickly on Megan, we were, of course, just speaking about her whole kind of interaction at the party and with Jim and everything. And she was very vocal on Twitter tonight while this episode aired, just kind of stating everything that we had kind of spoken about. She tweeted a little earlier and she said she's not happy with her stubborn self on this show tonight. She shouldn't have brought her husband into the argument, and she should have let it go way before.
Amen.
Exactly. And she even addressed the whole zip it comment and just saying that Jim did in fact apologize for telling her to zip it, and she accepted. So everything is fine.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. See, we go back and forth with him, and we question what we see, and when we met him here, he was so great. So I'm glad to hear that.
Right.
There we go. And then on some good
I
news.
accept your apology too, Jim.
We all accept.
Yes.
For telling Megan to zip it.
Well, now that everything is all well and good, let's move on to our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So we see Shannon and David are having an in-home dinner date. We saw a little bit of that.
Good on the kids.
Yeah, set up by
Yeah.
those daughters of theirs.
Tamra and Eddie, it's gonna get rough. Rough waters are coming when Eddie learns that she's been helping out her adult son and a couple stray children find a new home to stay in. So I had to go. Look, it's true.
It's true.
3
It
is
is
a
true.
few, not a couple.
Yeah. True.
Yes.
Again, true. This is all true.
So what do we think this coming week? Is Megan going to drop it? Is she going to be done with this situation?
Well, she did say that she's not going to be done with it.
Oh, she did?
Didn't she? And that's what she was
Yeah.
like
At the party,
This
yeah.
is just the beginning.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right. I mean, but truly, that was before things sort of escalated to the level that they got to. So, I mean, it would be nice to see her sort of let it be.
Let it lie.
Probably won't, but that'll be interesting.
We can hope.
Well, and Vicky's headed to Oklahoma to hang out with Brianna and Ryan because Ryan's getting back surgery. So she won't even be there.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be one of those situations where Megan goes to all the other girls and there's conversations that happen and it ends up getting more convoluted. But my prediction is that we are going to see Vicky go all kinds of like Wisconsin, Vicky, like old school, podunk, rural.
Oh.
Like I feel like maybe she'll like drink a beer or something. You know, I feel like we're going to see like country, like middle America Vicky when she goes to visit
I'm
Brianna
excited.
in
But
She didn't
Oklahoma.
look very comfortable going into their tornado.
No, she'll
shelter.
get into it. She'll get into it.
She's gonna get into
She's
it?
a Midwestern
the
girl.
roots will be revived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I echo.
Everything
there's
that's
not, there's not much. I mean, I just think that I think it's going to be very interesting to see what goes down between Tamara and Eddie.
Certainly.
There's been a lot of action, which we've been lucky to cover here. It's great conversation. So I think now, as the housewives do, they ebb and flow, and I think now the next week is going to be a lot of discussion of what happened. You know, these women, they have to get together for lunch, and they'll go to,
right.
you know, like a tea party at Heather's, you know, portico.
In her
whatever.
closet. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, and then they'll have to, you know, discuss.
Tea party in her master closet.
Come to my closet. I just put in some glass.
Yes.
So we shall see.
Wear your slippers.
It has a balcony.
Right.
We shall see. Ladies, where can we keep the conversation going on social media? People want to talk about these housewives.
Yes. Well, I have been Blake V, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
I'm Allison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Allison Dean.
Ladies, where can we see you guys drink the beer
Yeah.
from the poop?
Yes, if you go onto YouTube, you can Google Winos and Onesies, and the video will pop right up. A place called
Sweeney's Ale House.
in Encino. All right. And it's a wonderful one.
It's a goodie.
Well, I'll be checking that out too. So when you guys watch, tweet me. And I'm all over Instagram and all the good stuff at Christy Reports. Please also check out ChristyReports.com.
And you can find me on Twitter at Grants__Rants. You can also find me and this one, Christy, over here, guest co-hosting on my new podcast, Grants Rants Hollywood Talk. It's up, it's good, there are 4 episodes. Subscribe. Yeah, everyone's got a little different flavor to bring to the table, and there'll be a lot more personalities to come. People here from AfterBuzz, who knows? So just check it out. It's on iTunes. That'll do it for us. Thanks to Marissa in the booth.
Thanks, Marissa.
And that'll do it for the Real Housewives of Orange County.
See you next week.
See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.